Hello and welcome to the Hispanic Patriot podcast, everybody. A weekly podcast broadcast live from a secret undisclosed location in the heart of the great state of Colorado. Here we speak the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help us God. Thank you for joining us on our second show of 2025. My name is Nicholas Razzo, and without further ado, I present to you all our fearless patron, Hugo Chavez Rey. Give it up for the Hispanic Patriot.
Orale!
Hey, everybody. Nice to see you.
What's happening, folks? What's happening? Another great day at the Hispanic Patriot Studios, and we're happy to bring you the second show, as Nicholas informed us, of 2025. We are so close to our new regime, our new administration, a true administration, I might add.
A government by the people, for the people this
the
time.
People on the left are apoplectic, and that's always a good thing. We've got a lot of friends that are headed over to D.C. Some are already there. We're happy that we're going to have some on-the-ground reporting next Monday, so tune in on Inauguration Day. We will be on the air throughout the day and bringing you updates and commentary. It's going to be a great day in America. We're hoping for good weather. We're hoping for good security and a good experience for the people who are going, and definitely for the president. Now, regarding the inauguration, we also know that there's going to be some snowflake Democrats have decided they're going to boycott the inauguration. But guess what? We don't care.
This is one case where more is not necessarily merrier. These people are not generally merry. Well, I mean, sometimes they turn into merry from being Baby Bob or Phil or something like that, but beyond that, not really.
And the least among them is Big Mike, who won't be there with Obozo. I don't know if he's going. I guess he will be, since he's a former president.
Maybe he wants to talk to his buddy Trump some more in order to
probably
take off
will. Yeah, they were yucking it up at the Carter funeral. So
Kamala was not happy about it. Not at all.
Yeah, Kamala was kind of giving that face. And
we all know people like that who are just ticked off to see you have a good time, you know?
Yep. So we've got a lot on our plate for tonight. So we're gonna kick off with some somber news from Southern California. We have a short video that I want to share from Tom McDonald. For those of you who are familiar with Tom, he's got a little bit of commentary about the wildfires. So let's see what Tom has to say.
We got it.
Everybody knows about the wildfires that are devastating California right now. The generator running because we don't have power. We're okay. But you know what's not okay? Our gay fire chief prioritizing hiring women and LGBTQ plus firefighters instead of placing emphasis on having an adequate reserve of water. Hundreds of thousands of insurance policies being canceled in California so that our homes are protected against these things. Our mayor abandoning her city while it's under siege to fly to Africa and celebrate the presidential inauguration in Ghana, asking the public to help fight these fires because there's a manpower shortage after firing thousands of firefighters who refuse to take the jab, cutting fire department funding by almost $20 million in order to focus more spending on illegal immigrants and homelessness, careless water and forest management by Gavin Newsom. This is more than Mother Nature. Hundreds of thousands of people losing everything they have in an instant, and their suffering is being amplified by piss poor leadership. Be safe, everybody. Love you. Everybody.
I couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, that's he hit it. He hit all the right points. The fact that Californians are having to be subjected to this is beyond the pale. they have concentrated, like he said, on DEI hires. You've got the fire chief of LA County making $750,000 a year. And she couldn't answer the question as to why the fire hydrants in LA didn't have any water in them. I mean, what in the hell is going on there?
Well, I mean, let's be honest. We know exactly what it is when an expert who absolutely should know these things claims to know nothing about it. Is either they wanted to know nothing about it and everything about their job from day one so that they could have total anonymity, or she knows damn well what happened to the water and she just doesn't want to admit it because it was a horrifying mistake. I mean, this is a failure of failure, not fate. This is failure, not fate. And I think that's what the Californian politicians originally tried to spin this as. But then Gavin Newsom, you saw his response to this, was to go and try to ask the president to censor information about the California wildfires. So we need to do something as Republicans right now. We need to remember that was Gavin Newsom's first response to a crisis. We got to throw that back in his face when he eventually tries to run for president. That he wanted a communist China-style blackout of information before actually being held accountable. Democrats hate accountability. That's what we're learning from these wildfires. But here's the thing. The accountability here is scenes that look worse than some of the battlefields in Ukraine. Like, I saw some aerial photos of California. It looks more devastated in some areas than certain neighborhoods of Gaza. It's horrifying. So this is not a little tiny thing. And we saw this from the southern United States earlier with the hurricanes. This is all Democrat failures, like you said, and it's because they want to socially engineer rather than maintain society.
Well, I mean, as of right now, there are 24 known dead in the wildfires, and that's I gotta believe that's the tip terrible. Of the iceberg. There are a lot of people missing. They're saying 16 missing, but I think it's probably higher than that.
That's what upsets me is that's on Gavin Newsom's hands. You know, I mean, everybody, if anyone ever saw the Pixar movie Bug's Life, there's this great quote that goes, "When you're in charge, everything is your fault." That's what being a leader is. So the fact that the mayor was in Ghana, like you said, you know, I mean, this is peak wildfire season, and you choose to be in Africa. You know, of course something happened while you were overseas. I'm sure she's saying, thinking to herself, "Oh, he'll be right back." But this is probably what she's thinking to herself. "Oh, poor me. This had to happen when I was away, and I look bad now." The news tried to interview her when she was on the tarmac coming back home. She wouldn't even say a word to them. She froze like a deer in the headlights. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, yeah. She said, "Well, I'm not going to comment on that." Yeah.
Well, you should. Your city's burning. You should comment on it. You're the mayor. I mean, imagine if Colorado Springs was on fire and Mayor Adeyemi decided just to say nothing, go in a bunker for 3 days, you know, or be an actor yourself, you know.
We have a little bit more news from LA, and let's listen.
Fire threat for Los Angeles County remains high. As wildfires continue spreading through the greater Los Angeles area, 16 people have been reported missing after at least 16 people have been confirmed perished, officials said. More than 12,000 structures have been damaged or destroyed by the wildfires, and the threat of further destruction remains high, officials said. Coupled with low humidity, officials expect high winds to sweep through the region in the coming days, with gusts up to 50 miles per hour, according to Los Angeles City Fire Department Chief Kristen Crowley. Authorities instituted a red flag warning until 6 p.m. on Wednesday, with the strongest winds expected to occur on Tuesday. These wind events are coming into Los Angeles, Crowley said at a Sunday press conference. Every available LAFD firefighter is on hand and will remain in place through this wind event. Additionally, firefighters continue to pour into the Southern California region to bolster our firefighting capabilities. The city is prepared for the high winds, Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass said at the briefing. The city fire department has deployed.
Yeah, we want to hear what the mayor said. Did you hear the story about fire trucks coming down from Oregon and Washington State, and they were detained in Sacramento because they needed to inspect them for emissions.
I did hear about that.
I mean,
I do have a little
the insanity just multiplies by the second. I mean, what kind of stupid person is going to hold up firefighters that are coming to help for a stupid emission inspection on their trucks? Give me a freaking break, man.
Well, no, I totally agree with you. If I do have a little insight on this. My family came from a firefighting background, actually. And so the reason that these fire trucks were inspected was because fire trucks actually aren't designed to like go a large distance away from places. So it wasn't actually an emissions test. It was basically inspecting the trucks for mechanical problems. If there was emission problems, that would have been really stupid. I mean, tests, that would have been really stupid.
That's what I read. It said it was for an emissions inspection.
Yeah, that part was probably totally unnecessary. Absolutely. What probably happened is that you had real decent mechanics saying, all right, your truck's good. And then some skinny bureaucrat has to come like, oh, does it pass emissions test, though? Someone trying to justify their job in the middle of a crisis. That's terrible.
Yeah,
but thank God for those firefighters in Oregon.
Whoops. All right, folks. Technical difficulties. I think we got the gist of what's going on in LA. I mean, this is it just tragic. Doesn't even begin to explain it. The people that are going through it are, beyond helpless, because what can they do? They can't do anything. And
not with any water, not with no water, not without any resources to fight.
And the incompetence of these officials is what's really appalling. And in my opinion, I wouldn't be surprised to see criminal charges coming out of this, because before I forget, I just heard here in the last couple hours, and this is alleged, okay, we don't have any confirmation yet, but apparently there is a report that an illegal immigrant with a flamethrower was arrested, and he could be the perpetrator of the start of this fire. And if that turns out to be true, every single government official in California, starting with Newsom, should be arrested and prosecuted.
Well, and especially since even if this isn't true, I mean, this easily could be true. Foreign actors could easily set fires to our forests, poorly managed forests, and start this whole thing. I mean,
yeah.
This is a wake-up call, isn't it, Hugo?
Well, this is exactly what
a very sad wake-up call.
What they've created in California. The insanity is beyond the pale, and hopefully the citizens of California have had enough. That I'm hoping this is the straw that broke the camel's back, and hopefully they start voting these idiots out of office.
I agree. It's just sad that it took something like this. It really is. So prayers for everybody who is in California. We hope everybody is doing. I have family in Southern California, so this is very tragic for all of us here. And we're going to keep praying for Southern California that these wildfires stop, and that those responsible for allowing this crisis to go completely unchecked face the appropriate justice.
Absolutely. Yeah. So let's move along. And our next storyline has to do with President Trump's nominees for his cabinet.
Very good nominees, it should be said.
And the confirmation hearings. And I've had an opportunity to watch. I watched the entire Pete Hegseth confirmation hearing.
More of a confirmation screaming on that one. But.
Yeah. Well, they're all. I don't know what the hell's wrong with these Democrats, but I mean, the questions right out of the bag were, when you cheated on your wife, when did you cheat on her? You went to work drunk. And then I got a kick out of the one senator that called them all out when he said, excuse me, but have you ever been around for a late night vote when senators showed up to work drunk to vote? And he just lambasted. I wish
They
I'd
all
had
looked like they had such egg on their face when he said that, man. He just let the cat out of the bag. It's like, come on, guys. I worked in the banking sector. People drank at their desks. I mean, alcohol consumption in high-profile areas is
Oh
common.
my God!
Everybody
These
who's been
people are
around
such
long
hypocrites.
knows
I
this.
mean, it's ridiculous. You know, they try to act all high and mighty and holier than thou, and
You know what it reminds me of, Hugo? It reminds me of a madam in a bordello being mad that her prostitutes smoke cigarettes after work.
yep.
You know what I mean? It's like you're already running a sinful place, Washington, D.C. You're really upset that somebody had some personal issues that you never had. And you know who brought up this? Because you know who brought this up, Hugo, was Tim Kaine.
Oh
It's
my
like
God! Yeah.
you were VP to the woman who was the most famously cheated on woman in the entire history of America. Bill
Yeah.
Clinton's wife. You were VP to that woman. And now you're complaining at Pete because some person, if I was Pete Hegseth, I would have looked straight in their eyes and said, "Sir, my or any other personal circumstances that you may or may not be describing are not a crime and not pertinent to the business of government." What
Exactly.
insane series of questioning Pete had to go through that had nothing to do with defense at all. Which is sad. I actually was excited when he talked about defense stuff. This guy really knows what he's talking about. We'll get into that in a little bit.
One of my favorite parts of the hearing with Pete Hegseth was when I don't know how to describe her, but she's a fool. The fool from Hawaii.
Well, there you go.
Pineapple Head, I think it would be a good description. Mazie Hirono tried to lambaste Pete Hegseth. Let's take a peek at that and see how that came through.
And focused on your fitness to serve, including your character and temperament and your overall qualifications to do the job. And I do appreciate the comments of Ranking Member Reed with his concerns regarding your nomination, because I share those concerns. As part of my responsibility as a member of this committee to ensure the fitness of all nominees to come before any of the committees on which I sit, I asked the following two initial questions. First, since you became a legal adult, have you ever made unwanted requests for sexual favors or committed any verbal or physical harassment or assault of a sexual nature?
No, Senator.
Have you ever faced discipline or entered into a settlement relating to this kind of conduct?
Senator, I was falsely accused in October of 2017. It was fully investigated, and I was completely cleared.
I don't think completely cleared is accurate, but the fact is that your own lawyer said that you entered into an NDA and paid a person who accused you of raping her a sum of money.
I think she fell out of a coconut tree.
To make sure that she did not file a complaint. Moving on. As Secretary, you will be in charge of maintaining good order and discipline by enforcing the Uniform Code of Military Justice, UCMJ. In addition to the sexual assault allegations, and by the way, the answer to my second question should have been yes. I have read multiple reports of your regularly being drunk, including by people who worked with you at Fox News. Do you know that being drunk at work is prohibited for service members under the UCMJ?
Senator, those
Yes
are
or no?
multiple false anonymous reports peddled by NBC
Do you
News
know that
run directly
drinking on the job
contradictory to
is
the dozens of men and women at
not
Fox News
contemplated
Channel
on it?
who I work with
I'm
who
not
came
hearing
on
the
the
answer to my
record
question.
and said they,
In your
You're not
own
hearing the answer
statement,
you want to
said
hear.
you commit to holding leaders accountable at all levels. That includes you, of course. And frankly, as Secretary, you will be on the job 24/7. You recently promised some of my Republican colleagues that you stopped drinking and won't drink
love how he
if
takes a sip of
confronted,
water when he's-
correct?
Absolutely.
Will you resign as Secretary of Defense if you drink on the job, which is a 24/7 position?
I've made this commitment.
You're not allowed to drink
Resign
alcohol.
as Secretary of Defense
I've
if
made
you
this
drink
commitment on
on the
behalf
job.
of the men and women I'm serving.
I'm not
because it's the
hearing-
most important deployment
I'm not
of my
hearing an
life.
answer to my question, so
You're
I'm
talking over him.
while you have made that commitment, you will not commit to resigning if you drink.
Not
on the job.
hearing because you're deaf, you
Oh.
dumbass.
As Secretary of Defense, you will swear an oath to the Constitution and not an oath to any man, woman, or president, correct?
Senator, on multiple occasions, including as a young second lieutenant, I have sworn an oath to the
Answer is
Constitution,
yes.
and I'm proud to do so. Yes, ma'am.
In June of 2020, then President Trump directed former Secretary of Defense Mark Esper to shoot protesters in the legs in downtown DC, an order Secretary Esper refused.
Well, it's better than
to comply
shooting
with.
them in the
Will you
head.
carry out such an order from President Trump?
Senator, I was in the Washington, D.C. National Guard unit that was in Lafayette Square during those
Would you
events,
carry
holding
out
a
an
riot
order to
shield on
shoot
behalf of my
protesters
country.
in the legs?
I saw 50
as
Secret
directed
Service agents
Yes,
getting
I would.
shot by
And are you
rioters
leading
trying to
them?
jump over the fence, set
Again,
the church on fire, and destroy
You know
a
what, that
statue.
sounds to me that you will
Chaos.
comply with such an order. You will shoot
Shoot them in
protesters
the leg, shoot
in
them
the
in the
leg.
arm,
You
shoot
can't
them in the head.
President
people's
Bush has
hands
attacked
as an official
our allies in
obligation.
recent weeks, refusing to rule out using military force to take over Greenland and the Panama Canal, and threatening to make Canada the
Yeah, like we
51st
need
state.
military
Would you
force to
carry
take
out
over
orders from
like a
President
place
Trump
inhabited
to
by
seize Greenland, a
50,000
territory
people.
of our
You
NATO
already
allies?
have
No?
military bases there.
By
Wouldn't
force?
we know
Or
what
would
invasion
you
needed?
comply with an order
We're already
to take
there.
over the Panama Canal?
Oh my God.
Senator, I will emphasize that President Trump received 77 million votes to be the lawful
We're
commander-in-chief
not
of
talking
this
about
country.
the election. My question
Yes,
is,
we are.
would you use our military to take over Greenland or?
Oh God. Get out of here. I can't listen to any more of that.
I wouldn't use it. The president would use it. I'm just the Secretary of Defense. Like,
Exactly.
I don't know. These people have no genuine idea what the Secretary of Defense does. Like, I think a lot of people think that that the Secretary of Defense is like the topmost general of the United States. In fact, Elizabeth Warren made that exact mistake. Elizabeth Warren was like, "Okay, well, generals, you demanded that generals cannot join the defense sector after they retire. Will you make that same pledge?" And she goes, he says, "I'm not a general." And she goes, "But you'll be leading generals." It's like, that is not the role of the Secretary of Defense to lead generals. So anyway, it's just military ignorance. It's
Yeah.
just more military ignorance. But
Bottom line is Pete made mincemeat out of these Democrat fools that had
did.
no interest in asking pertinent questions to the job of Secretary of Defense. All they wanted was to run their little smear tactic campaign against the first one and one of the most prominent of the nominees. And he's been under attack from day one because they know he's a mean business guy, and they know that under his leadership, there's not going to be any of this blinking stuff that the Biden regime has been doing to us for 4 years. What a bunch of
weakness.
I wish somebody in some of these hearings would have had a list of all the clowns that they nominated and confirmed for Biden. And I would have said, "Oh, you mean like this guy or like this one or this one that we don't know whose gender it is?" And give me a break.
Hey, Hugo, that transgender lady doesn't drink on the job, though.
Are you sure?
Soldiers have never. Well, I mean, she's not drinking alcohol. Maybe she's drinking something. I don't know. What do you drink something to help with that process? I don't know. But because soldiers never drink, right, Hugo? Soldiers, they never drink. People, well-known soldiers are.
Soldiers don't drink; they guzzle. And
they don't
damn it, if
smoke
they
either.
haven't earned it. I know from firsthand experience.
Because during a recruitment crisis, we want to say we have a military where you can't drink, you can't smoke, you can't do anything fun at all. Yeah, the people running the military are about to be run by people who know soldiers, who have been soldiers, real soldiers, and I'm really happy about that. Quickly, very quickly, something that excites me as, again, Chicago native, we have the Great Lakes Naval Base. I think Pete's going to be great for the U.S. Navy, because he was talking about improving our ship's capacity, our shipyards. We have like 4 or 5. We used to have huge shipyards. He might actually say, he didn't mention South Korea specifically, but he might ask South Korea and Japan, have contracts with these countries to help build the next generation of American warships quickly, really fast, because
Yep.
again, Navy stuff is decades of planning. But if we can get the Japanese and the South Koreans to help us, we can build a Navy so big that China won't even know what hit them with it. It really will.
And I want to go on the record because this other topic was one of the key issues that the Dems were bringing up. They're trying to nail him on his position of women in combat. And
Yeah, that was
and
really pathetic.
I am dead set against women in combat.
I am too.
Okay. Other than perhaps in a support capacity,
Yeah.
I don't want women being sent to the front lines to hand-to-hand combat with the enemy. Okay.
No.
I'm sorry. I don't care how tough the woman is or whatever. They compromise the mission by just being a female. That's my opinion.
Because psychologically, a man will see, the male soldier sees the woman, and there's a whole different series of psychological reactions than if you're just surrounded by men. Women can be support roles. I mean, there are women in Ukraine who fire mortars. I mean, the support, it really depends. You might be on the second line, but the front line is a very special place psychologically for the human being. It is a place of pure danger. And another thing, Hetzek, I want to make this very clear distinction. Hetzek was especially talking about mothers, because women, when they have children, it is and should be harder for you to take a human life unless that human life is directly threatening your babies. That's why, I've seen mothers in Ukraine as soldiers. They're amazing. But if you're at that position as a society, something has gone wrong. You don't build your military for women to be so involved. A woman being involved in the military should mean that something has gone horribly wrong, because women are amplifiers. They are the support roles psychologically, biologically. So yeah, as Pete was saying, okay, you know what? Single women in the military, that's something different. But mothers, that should be off the table. Everybody should agree with that. But these Democrats couldn't even agree with that much. So
yeah, we have to get away from this concept, the notion that men and women are equal in physical capabilities. It's not true, and it's been proven. And there are exceptions to the rule, but the bottom line is that women don't belong in combat. That's my personal opinion. And until somebody shows me otherwise, I don't think I'm going to be budging from that. So I'm sure we'll get some mail about how misogynist I am. And when
you're
it comes
so
to that,
misogynist, you don't want women to die on a battlefield. That's how misogynistic you are, Hugo.
Yeah,
you don't want women to die.
I wouldn't want my sister, my wife, my mother, for that matter, fighting on the battlefields for the nation. It wasn't intended to be. God didn't intend it to be that way, and I stand with God. So,
exactly. And we're not saying women can't fight or can't defend themselves with weapons. We want women to be armed. They have every right to the Second Amendment.
I know plenty of women that are good in martial arts and pretty tough, in that sense. But
it's not the same.
The psychological impact to the unit. Yeah. If there's, let's say, 1 or 2 women in the platoon and they go into combat and one of them gets captured, let's say, it becomes a very different scenario. So I'm sorry, but I just, I don't buy that.
Women can fight, but women should not go to war. War is not a fight. War is a completely different thing. War is politics by other means, as Clausewitz said.
So that's the first nominee, and my prediction is Pete will be confirmed.
Heck yeah.
Now, another one that I got to watch was Pam Bondi. And Pam is a superstar when it comes to legal issues. She is absolutely one of the best nominees that I've ever seen for Attorney General. And she was being lambasted by some of the Democrats who were trying to, I forget who it was that was telling her that that she had to say something or other, and Pam responded right back at him and says, "I don't have to say anything. I'm here to respond to the job and the qualifications for that job. I'm not here to play your semantic games and agree to any putting words in my mouth type." I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what she was telling. Let's listen in a little bit to one of the questioners, which is by Senator Blue Menthol. That's the guy that I just.
But speaking,
an individual who says that he is going to, quote, come after, end quote, people he alleges, quote, help Joe Biden rig the presidential elections, that he has a list of people who are part of this deep state who should be prosecuted, that he's going to close down the FBI building on his first day in office. Is that a person who appropriately should be the FBI director? Aren't those comments inappropriate? Shouldn't you disavow them and ask him to recant them?
no.
Senator, I am not familiar with all those comments. I have not discussed those comments with Mr. Patel. What I do know
Well,
is
I'm
Mr.
asking
Patel,
you for your
excuse
view.
me, what I do know is Mr. Patel was a career prosecutor. He was a career public defender defending people. And he also has great experience within the intelligence community. What I can sit here and tell you is Mr. Patel, if he works with running the FBI, if he is confirmed, and if I am confirmed, he will follow the law if I am the Attorney General of the United States of America, and I don't believe he would do anything otherwise.
Well, let me just submit that the response that I would have hoped to hear from you is that those comments are inappropriate and that you will ask him to disavow or recant them when he comes before this committee, because they are indeed chilling to fair enforcement and the rule of law.
You can hope, wish, and pray as much as you want, man. It's a free country.
What I hope is that you would answer a question the way I want you to answer it.
Well, maybe so you should hope less and do more. That's
Oh
all
my
I got for
God.
you.
Can you, I mean, are you serious, man?
I don't think they are. No, I don't think they are very serious people. If you're being serious, if you're asking my honest opinion, no. These people really didn't know what to say with Pam partially because she's a woman and not the kind of person they felt they could push around like they did for Amy Barron Cohen.
Oh my
Amy
God.
Barrett.
Pam Bondi and Amy Amy Barrett are night and day. Pam is a fighter, and she's not going to take any guff from any Democrat. I guarantee you that.
You can tell in her eyes, like that was definitely the case. Like,
yeah, they think just because she's blonde that she's a dummy, but that lady has got more intelligence in her pinky than that Blue Menthol guy.
Yeah, man. Imagine being that indignant just because someone doesn't share your opinion and having to say, well, I'm going to say what I think you should have said here to put my marker down. It's like, dude, is this her confirmation hearing or yours? I mean, dang, man.
Well,
But they were in control. Pete and
out of the
Pam.
hearings that I've watched, I haven't heard one Democrat ask one pertinent question to the job. It's all about gotcha questions. It's all about sexual innuendos or what this guy said or what that guy said, and hypotheticals. If the president asks you to do something illegal, are you going to tell him no? I mean, give me a
Yeah,
break.
no,
Man.
you're right. And even Pete made that clear. It's like you're talking about a hypothetical, he said at one point. But one person they kind of didn't have ammo for was our personal favorite, Marco Rubio. They tried, but they really didn't have much to get him with. They had to ask serious questions. They thought they'd say, "Oh, well, what your boss and the VP has made different statements than you on Ukraine." I thought, as a Ukraine supporter myself, I thought he gave really, really good answers on Mexico. Which, again, being Mexican myself, he said that he is considering naming the cartels as a terrorist organization, but recognizes that you can't fight them like a terrorist organization because they're a complicated criminal enterprise. So at the very least, I think you're going to see it be illegal for American citizens to in any way
Well,
associate or work with cartel members or any front businesses. And I think that's a great first step. I support what he's going to do with the cartels, I believe.
Pam Bondi answered that question from one of the
She did as well.
Republicans. She said that she would designate the cartels as terrorist organizations because that's exactly what
That's
they
what they
are.
are. I've advocated for that since I was 14 years old. I mean, I always thought that that's exactly what they are. They're degenerating the national security of both Mexico and America, and our health, and our society, and our economy.
And there's a key point to that designation that people don't realize. The designation of a terrorist organization changes the whole ball game as to how you treat them, how you fight them. And I guarantee you the cartels are none too happy to hear that kind of language coming from the next attorney general.
Well, they should get a real job then. I mean, I have a lot of strong feeling about the cartels because I understand them to a certain degree. I mean, it's just a job. It's just a job to a lot of people. And some people at the top of these cartels even think it's their national duty to poison America for some ideological reason they have. If these people with all their skills and
they don't have ideology, all they care about is the greenback, man.
They do, and that is, but like Islamic terrorists, because in Syria, for example, we saw huge drug production, drug trade. Beware criminals who believe that they have some sort of moral reason to do the crimes that they do. ISIS was hugely involved in criminal enterprises. That's why I think this terrorist designation for them is so appropriate. No, I mean, being from Mexico myself, I mean, there are some political aspects to what these cartels think they're doing. It's very, very pathetic. That they believe that they are high-minded, that they're basically the chiefs of their little region, that they're doing good for the people there. They really are delusional. They're not just criminals. They're delusional people who need to be taken down like terrorists. I do believe this is an appropriate designation because these people, they are criminals. Most of them are just in it for the money, but some of them are real whack jobs who believe they're doing something right.
Until we deal with drug runners, cartels, the way Singapore, for example, with them, I don't think we're going to make much of a headway. Why do you think there aren't any cartels in Singapore?
For anyone who doesn't know, drug running in Singapore carries the death penalty. That's
they
a very
execute
common thing.
They
kill you.
There is no second chance.
There is drugs, they kill you.
Let's send you to prison and send you back out onto the streets. No, it's death.
No, and we are in a neo-opium war. We are in an opium war. China's funneling these drugs to kill Americans. They've killed Americans. They've killed some of my friends. And rest in peace to all of them who have. This war is going to end with an American victory. It's not a war on drugs. It's a war with China. This is not about drugs. This is about a foreign country exploiting our suffering, mostly created by Democrat policies, economic policies, to kill Americans. That's what they want to do. So we're going to get serious on this, and I'm glad to see Trump's picks for that. Marco Rubio, Pam, Hedseg, all of them are serious people on the border. We're going to see this problem solved, folks. I believe that.
Yep. All right, let's move on to a slightly humorous situation. As most of you probably saw the press conference today, where Biden attempted to explain what his policies have done with the Hamas-Israeli conflict. And he's trying to take credit for Hamas and Israel allegedly moving towards a ceasefire deal. Now, I want to make this point very clear. There is no ceasefire deal yet.
No, there is not.
It's a proposal that has not been implemented yet. So for them to parade around and act like, oh, yes, this is one of my final acts of my presidency.
So almost maybe do something that might maybe do something.
Yeah. Give me a freaking break, man. This guy is just so delusional, but he got the media, just lapping up everything he says, even as we speak.
Oh,
We're
man.
4 days out from a new president, and this clown wants to act like his policies and his fortitude and his toughness is what forced Hamas to come to the table. No, I hate to break it to you, clown, but it was President Trump when he said there will be hell to pay. That's what brought them to the table.
You know what this is like? Somebody like, at a wedding or something, like a little child opening a door and everyone's cheering for, the wedding party, and the little child thinks they're cheering for him. Oh, it was like, no, it was Trump who came through, who said, yeah, if you don't get a peace deal or a ceasefire by the time that I'm president, you're going to have some trouble. And BB is already on thin ice with Trump for a lot of different reasons. First of all, for cuddling up to Biden as soon as he stole the election. No. And also, can I mention, maybe Israel did a little bit of work to make any kind of peace treaty happen, by taking the Golan Heights or taking southern Syria, killing the leader of Hamas twice, and Hezbollah, I think only once, but maybe twice. That needs to be confirmed. Taking out, helping to take out Syria, because we know that Israel had a hand in that. I don't really see where this great Hamas victory is happening, where this great Biden victory is happening. No, I think that Israel has completely taken victory in this regional conflict that's taken place, and I think Biden has done nothing to help facilitate that at all. I don't think even Israel really needed the weapon shipments that Biden gave them. I think Israel did a good job on their own. Their military proficiency is out of this world most of the time. And also, it's typical for the rest of the world. We have Ukrainian officials saying, yeah, Biden basically did nothing, and he was a big impediment to anything we were trying to do. The shambling grandpa was actually, demented grandpa was an impediment to world peace. Oh, man, what a revelation. Yeah, Biden did nothing to do this, and I am disgusted that he tried to take credit for it. I genuinely am. I have friends who have served in the IDF. I have friends in Israel. I think this is disgusting that it's him that did this and not Trump or Israel, the people who actually did it. It's frustrating to say the least. I'm going to need a side of bacon with my break, please. I need a little bit more than just a break.
And then they, after a little press conference towards the end, one of the reporters asked him as he was walking away that, does Trump deserve any credit for this? And he turns around with his stupid look. That's a joke, right? And my response would have been, no, sir, you're the joke. That's what I would have loved to have heard.
So easy.
Let's see what.
Thank you. Folks, credit for this, Mr. President, you or Trump?
Is that a joke? Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. And again, it's like, apparently Israel doesn't deserve any credit for its own ceasefire. I just want to take a minute or just a second for our viewers. The anti-Israel coalition has basically completely failed. I mean, Hezbollah doesn't have its longtime leader, and southern Lebanon is occupied by Israel. Syria, the Assad pro-Iranian regime is gone completely. Israel has bombed pretty much all of the Syrian Navy, a whole bunch of stockpiles of weapons and stuff. So any Syrian government, if they want to oppose Israel, they don't have a means to. And they don't want to oppose Israel, by all means. The air route that Iran uses to get to Lebanon and to attack Israel is now cut off because Syria is no longer Assad, and Gaza is a smoking ruin. I really don't know what they wanted to accomplish from this, but all they've done is strengthen Israel. All they've done is degenerate the position of Arab Palestinians. Good job, guys. You failed in every capacity. So I just wanted to make that
here's
very
the
clear.
other kicker. only 3 of the 7 American hostages in Gaza are believed to be alive.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see. Let's see what they had to say about that.
And President-elect Trump are working together as we bridge the gap between these two administrations as they try to free the hostages that Hamas has been holding for more than a year. 3 Americans are believed to be alive and still held captive. 36-year-old Seguida Chen, 20-year-old Idan Alexander, and 65-year-old Keith Siegel.
They're passing out pads of the RNC
these
guys on them.
coordinating these ceasefire talks. Here is Jake Sullivan on that.
There is a spirit being brought to this work which says these are not partisan issues. These are American national security issues. And I have to say, our coordination thus far, the engagement we've had, it's been professional, it's been deep and substantive.
Chief Foreign Correspondent Trey Yanks reporting live on these developments, these negotiations from Tel Aviv. Hi, Trey.
Martha, good afternoon. Israeli officials say that a deal with Hamas could be just hours away to end the war in Gaza and see the remaining hostages released. Now, these negotiations do come amid the backdrop of ongoing fighting inside the Gaza Strip.
Screams pierce the air of Deir al-Balah in the Gaza Strip. An Israeli airstrike has killed 3 members of the same family, including a young girl. Oh God, this Palestinian man cries out from the morgue. 50 miles away, wailing voices echo at the funeral of a slain Israeli soldier. He was killed in an IED blast planted by Hamas. My life, my little bear, his mother weeps. I still can't believe that knock on the door that broke my life in 2. After more than 15 months of war, the Middle East desperately waits for a ceasefire agreement that could end the suffering in this senseless conflict. Negotiating teams are in Doha, Qatar, hammering out the details of a deal that will reportedly lead to the release of Israeli hostages and stop the campaign against the Gaza Strip.
Any agreement to end the war is expected to be implemented in 3 phases, with up to 33 hostages being released during the first phase. Martha.
Okay.
That just sickens me.
It's really sad, and I've mentioned on the show before that, you know, I have friends in the IDF, but I also had friends in World Central Kitchen who were trying to feed the Gazans who were killed in Israeli airstrikes. You know, everyone's going to have people on both sides of this conflict. And what we need to say is that it needs to end, because the strategic action against Israel that was taking place in Lebanon, Syria, Iran, all these places, it failed. It's over. The anti-Zionist struggle has failed, and there needs to be peace because Gazans are suffering and dying. This is really horrible. There probably, by the time we're done talking, 3 children in Gaza have frozen to death by not having electricity. There's still a blockade. Even with this ceasefire, there's still going to be an Israeli blockade of Gaza. So there needs to be serious peace talks within the first few weeks of Donald Trump's inauguration, in my opinion. I think Israel and Hamas is going to agree, because they're in a much different position than Ukraine and Russia. Ukraine and Russia is still very much a stalemate. There's no question. Israel has won total victory. It's time for Gaza to be at peace.
Yeah, and you know, the bottom line is that there's really only one side that values life in this conflict. The other side doesn't care. Hamas uses women and children as shields.
They see them as martyrs. They see them as expendable tools of geopolitics. It's horrifying when you fight for your people. You have to be fighting for their lives. Freedom can't be used by dead people. You don't get to drag your people into a deadly situation, purposefully fail, and say, well, we all need to die because I'll look bad otherwise. It's time for peace. It's time to be over. Hamas is still going to be around, probably. This idea of Palestinians fighting back against Israel is still going to happen. The ceasefire is not going to end it, but
what's going to happen, though, is that Trump is going to come in and cut the head of the snake off, and that's Iran.
Yeah,
Iran
let's talk about that.
Without Iran's money, all those terrorist groups are worthless.
They are,
and they know it. and so that's where the focus needs to be. They need to cut the head of the snake off, and by that I mean cut off all the funding for Iran, blockade all their oil, and basically bankrupt them into submission.
And let's support the people in Iran who are tired of this government.
Well, that was my next point. And if we do that, the people of Iran will rise up and take their country back.
We saw it in Syria in 3 days. We can see that in Iran.
Yep.
The Ayatollahs need to be scared of that because they need to. Their oppression of Iran, this beautiful, beautiful Persian culture, is almost at an end. At least we have to pray for that.
Exactly. So that's where I'm going to be watching. I want to see what the strategy is from the Trump administration.
You getting Reagan flashbacks, Hugo?
I'm very confident that they've got a game plan already in place.
Yeah, Reagan started with his taking down of Iran. Maybe Trump's going to start his second term the same way.
Well, this time they need to finish the job. That's what I believe is they need to basically economically silence them, take out their nuclear facilities, and basically wait for them to crumble. And when they crumble, the people will rise up and take their country back.
God willing.
And then we can help them establish their own government. We don't want to govern them, but we definitely want to get those despots out, the Ayatollahs and all those idiots that are continue shouting death to America. Well, death to you, punks.
Yes.
It's coming. Get ready.
It's time for you to meet Allah.
Yeah. And get your 72 virgins.
72 Virginians. No, wait a minute.
Oh, wait a minute. It's 72-year-old virgins.
I think it was 72 virgin margaritas. I think that may be what it was. You know? You want to be drunk when you go to hell, right, guys?
Yep. All right, let's move on to another topic that I want to just briefly touch on because it's not worth giving it much time. But as we all know, last Friday, that crooked judge Juan Merchan in New York decided to move ahead with sentencing. And what did he do? He sentenced Trump with no penalty in New York business record case. So no fine, no sentence, no nothing.
What a great use of taxpayer money.
It shows that it was all political, and Trump said it very clearly in his response to, I think I have his statement, but it was a very powerful statement when he said that he felt that he had been treated very unfairly, that it was a witch hunt.
Which was.
There was a total political hit job, and he said that he's not done with the appeals now, and I firmly believe that this thing is going to get tossed on its ear. And then what I would like to see is Alvin Bragg and Juan Merchan investigated, and if evidence is found, they need to be charged, prosecuted, and sent to prison.
It's only fair.
That would be the correct result of what's going on here. So
this is the find out stage of their actions.
That took place this past. I don't have the clip that I thought I had for Trump's statement, but he pretty much told the judge, "Suck it."
Well, wouldn't you after he's been through? You know what I mean?
He said you perpetrated this fraud in an attempt to keep me from winning the election. And he goes, obviously that didn't work. And I about cracked up when he said that. It was like,
yeah, it's probably not a great feeling to have, persecuted the guy who's now president of the United States, and you are a judge and a prosecutor, or attorney.
A judge who is an immigrant from Colombia. And, technically speaking, I'm no constitutional attorney, but speaking as a citizen and an immigrant myself, his citizenship can be revoked and he can be deported.
Well, we wouldn't really lose anything now, would we? if that was the case. Well, and they'd love him they'd love him back home. You know, they have a left-wing government there now. You know, he'd be much happier there anyways. It really would be a blessing.
Maduro would love him. He'd probably be in Maduro's pocket.
Help with different kind of election fraud there, you know?
Yep.
He's already such an expert on it.
Another thing that was taking place last Friday was the funeral at President Carter.
Yes.
And one of the interesting things that I saw was President Trump sitting, or actually President Trump was sitting, and then guess who came and sat next to him? Obama.
Oh, look at that.
And Obama was by himself. Big Mike wasn't with him. So Big Mike did make an appearance at the Carter funeral. Obama was yucking it up with Trump, and Kamala was just apoplectic. She could not believe that Obama was yucking it up with Trump. Let's watch a little bit of a clip from the funeral.
That ain't right. You know, a sister not wanting a brother to have a good time with his buddy. Like what's going on here? They went on and work with you.
There's Trump. He's coming in. Melania. Look at that. None of the presidents stand up to greet him. Oh, is that Mike Pence actually stood up to shake his hand?
Oh, but he sat down. Wait, no. Who's going to shake his hand?
Here comes Obama. He says, I'm going to go sit next to Trump. Notice how he didn't shake Trump's hand. Now watch what Bush does. This is totally Bush-y. Completely ignores Trump.
So you know what? I don't like any of you.
What a piece of, you know what? Wash your hands, Bill.
They sat Bill asked does anybody else who says that check him out.
that was what I wanted to share, because
there's a lot you can tell by that kind of body language stuff, you know what I mean, between former presidents, especially people who hate each other.
Well, but that's not presidential. That's Bush League, and I mean that in the strongest term. I lost all the respect I had left for that guy.
I don't think George really W. Bush cares about how we respect him, honestly. Like, as a post-president, it's been interesting to hear him not really care about anything. Yeah, but I think that God has a funny sense of humor, because now with the death of Jimmy Carter, Joe Biden is indisputably the worst living president of all time, of our time. Yep. So I think that was his only real respite now, but now that's gone with the respite of Jimmy Carter. So goodbye, Joe. We will in no way miss you. You got anything to add to that, Hugo?
Nah, I just wanted to show the little scenario that took place there before the actual funeral service
we
started.
Need to do better. We needed to have better.
And speaking of despots and classless people, let's take a look about what's happening at the inauguration coming up. We have a group of people who have pledged to not show up at the president's inauguration.
Right? I mean, it's just so ugly. I talked about this a little bit on the weekend. I took my kids to Barack Obama's inauguration. And it was freezing.
Yes,
so cold.
yes.
But I did it because I was like, it's an honor to be invited to this.
Look at that.
These are just poor sports. You know, there are 5 stages of grief. Yeah. And so, like, the last is acceptance. And you're seeing some, like, you know, Senator Fetterman and a few others who are accepting what's happened, that Trump won, that this is where the country's at. And then you have a bunch of other people, you know, who are still stuck in another step. They have to go through more.
They're still angry.
They're
angry in step 1 or 2.
Denial.
All right, Pete Hegseth is going around and talking to senators, trying to get their approval, wants them to know his agenda.
Yeah. So there you have a group of clowns that are not going to be at the inauguration. And that means more seats for real patriots. So I'm kind of looking at it from that perspective. I don't think that President Trump really cares.
I know I wouldn't.
Nope.
Besides, we here at the Hispanic Patriot have some colleagues that will be at the inauguration. We should be hearing from them on Monday, and you should all tune in on Monday. Check us out. Make sure to leave us a like and fully subscribe. Ring the bell. Make sure you have live notifications on so you can see us go live for the inauguration, because you are not going to want to miss that. How many other places do you have on file that have people on the ground, part of it all, like the Hispanic Patriot podcast does?
And that's a perfect segue into our farewell to Joe Biden. We've got a little treat for you from Tom McDonald, who has crafted a song called Goodbye, Joe.
How perfect.
It is, isn't it?
Oh, man, we can't wait to see him go.
So let's see what the song.
We'll miss him like we miss hockey in our shoe.
America is going woke. The streets are full of fire and smoke. This ain't the way I thought it would be. The White House full of evil folks. Americans ain't free no more. They don't respect folks like you and me. The way we're treated ain't been fair. Fake news on every TV. 4 years we've been in this nightmare while they killed American dreams. We can't afford our lives here. Rent, food, and gasoline. Colors don't run and I only warn you once. Buddy, don't tread on me. I won't forget the ones who died for our freedom, and I ain't gonna hand it back. No, no, no. If liberty and justice ain't enough to believe in, then get out of here and don't look back. Go, go, go. We love our home, and if you don't pack your bags, you're free to go. Don't let the big door hit you with a good Lord split you. Wave goodbye to Joe. We love our land. If you ain't fans, Buddy will help you pack your bags. Don't let the big door hit you with a good fire, burn someone else's flame.
America is losing hope, divided by the way we vote. This ain't the way that this all should be. We're fighting over memes and jokes. They're burning flags that we hold close. They think that war's only overseas. The way we're painted ain't been fair. So what, you don't know me? You got something to say, well I'm right here. Thank us for the freedom of speech. You like to claim I don't care, cause I ain't gonna bend no knees.
Colors don't run and I only want it once. Buddy, don't tread on me. I won't forget the ones who died.
Goodbye, Joe.
Goodbye, Joe.
Goodbye, Joe.
And we won't forget those who helped us get our freedom, especially those that he abandoned in Afghanistan. I hope that we can give all those men and women some degree of closure, that the director-in-chief, the sleepy man-in-chief, who has led all of us to disaster over these past 4 years, is no longer going to have the reins of America. And somebody who can actually, as shown to have the talent to fix huge problems left by predecessors.
And look at there. Time flies when we're having fun. We're over
Oh,
again.
man.
But
A
that's
lucky
okay.
7 minutes, though.
We know you guys love the show, so we'll give you more as we go.
See, last time we were 15 minutes over. This time we're 7 minutes over. Next time we'll be on time. So,
all right.
And we will all see you on time, 6 p.m. every Wednesday.
Yes, and don't forget to join us this coming Monday for inauguration events.
Yes.
It's going to be a great day in America. It's going to be a joyous day in America. Get your beer ready. Get your drinks ready. Let's have a party on Monday.
Hey, we're going to do
I will be drinking on the air.
I probably will not be, to be honest. but we'll see. Maybe we could con me into it.
Hey,
so, guys.
I'm going to have a mimosa at 10 a.m.
All right, well, just don't have any Coronas and give us flashbacks to 4 years ago. You know what I mean? But, guys, thank you for joining us. We really love you all. We appreciate you joining with us every week. You're going to be seeing some big things from us this year. We're coming right out of the gate.
And to all our friends that are on the road traveling to D.C., say Godspeed, be careful, and keep your head on a swivel.
Yes.
We have a treat for you on Monday that we're going to share with you, and we hope to have a really big audience on Monday. So
yes,
tell your friends, tell your family, get on the air. Let's
share our announcements that you'll be seeing in this weekend.
Absolutely. All right. Good night, folks. Thank you for watching. God bless you. God bless the United States of America. God bless President-elect Trump and Vice President-elect Vance. We look forward to Monday. It's going to be a grand and glorious day. Good night, folks.
You all.